September 20th, 2012. From San Diego, California, this is episode 1 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 1 of You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall, and I'm here with my good friend, Dr. Mike. Mike, how are you doing tonight?
Pretty good.
So this is our first episode. I think the point behind it is that there are a lot of podcasts out there that deal with sort of specific gambling issues, like poker. A lot of poker podcasts that are awfully good. There are a lot of sports gambling podcasts, but there wasn't really a podcast that I could find that was just for the recreational gambler, and that's what we are. We are by no means professional gamblers. We have day jobs. It's just we like to gamble. And so we thought, well, it'd be nice to put out a podcast where you could talk about things like Caribbean stud poker, right? You know, you can't really make an entire podcast about Caribbean.
Thank God.
Caribbean stud poker. But, you know, if we wanted to talk about it, maybe we will. You know, now that I'm saying it, we'll probably have to put something in a future episode. When's the last time you played Caribbean stud poker? It was
20 plus years ago, maybe. Maybe.
Oh my gosh. So that's what we're going to try with this podcast. So we'll see how it goes. We play in a weekly poker game at my house. And Mike, you weren't there last night, but we had a new player, Joe. You've met Joe before,
yeah,
right?
Met him. Good guy.
We played at, we have a mutual friend who has a poker tournament every once in a while. Anyway, Joe came to the house. Something that we do in our home game that is probably pretty unusual for home games is we have a jackpot that you can win. Mm-hmm. If you make a 4 of a kind or better in any hand, you win jackpot. And if you have 4 of a kind, you win 50% of jackpot. If it's a straight flush, it's 75%. If you get a royal flush, it's 100% of jackpot. So it pays off. What do you think? Like once every
3
weeks or
3 weeks, yeah,
something like that
on the average, I'd say.
Yeah. So Joe, it was his first time last night, and I mean on the third hand that he played, it was Omaha 8. He got jackpot. You know, and he was. And our friend Glenn, who never wins jackpot, is just sitting there going, "What? How come? I've been playing for 5 years. I've hit like 5 jackpots." So Joe was very excited about hitting the jackpot the first night.
Although, I'm sure if you kept statistics on first night jackpot winners, it seems to come up. Right?
He had pocket nines, and a pair of nines came on the board. And he's new to the game, right? So he's kind of like, everybody folded, and he thought, oh no, I'm not going to win jackpot. But no, you don't have to have anybody else in the hand. It's not like a bad beat jackpot at a casino. So anyway, that's what happened last night.
Did he win for the night?
Nope.
No. Ended up losing for the night.
Losing for the night. I'm always glad when a new player loses that first night, because if they win and then they never come back, they could say, "Oh, they're 100% winner for our game," right? And I hate that. So I was glad to see his jackpot was like $25. He still lost, but only a few bucks.
Good for him, actually.
It was good. All right. I wanted to, in the news, let's have a quick news segment. There's an Indian casino close to us called Viejas, and this last week they celebrated their 21st anniversary. And so to commemorate it, they attempted to set the world's record for the biggest blackjack table. Did you finally see this?
I saw it, and I watched the video.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we first heard about it, we thought, okay, it was going to be some huge table with like 100 players around. Yeah. Right, and that they deal all the cards out, and then the dealer would get blackjack.
That's what they made it sound like,
and that'd be it, right? But no, what it was just this gigantic 6-person table, right, with oversized cards and oversized chips, right? And you saw the video. I didn't see the video.
I saw the video.
So
lame. It looked really, really lame.
Really?
It was just a big table, and players got to play one hand.
Okay.
They came up, they played the hand, and that was it. And they.
So what? So the dealer actually, I mean, it was. I saw a picture of the table. It looked like it was big enough that the dealer had to like walk.
Yeah, the dealer was walking on it, and from the video, you can't really tell if it's a table or just like a mat on the ground.
Okay.
Which is kind of what it looked like.
Yeah.
It kind of looked like something on the ground, and the person just stood there, and the dealer was. It might have been raised, and the dealer walked on it.
And to deliver the card.
To deliver the card, and they laid the card in front of the person, and that was it.
Okay. But they broke the record, right?
Right, I guess for the biggest size table.
Okay, yeah.
So
that's what it was.
So all we have to do is build a huge platform in the backyard and surpass the record.
Very good. All right, we'll check that out online. I'll try to remember to put a link up on the show notes if you want to take a look at the biggest blackjack table in the world. Let's talk about a couple of gambling-related TV shows coming up. I don't know if you've seen this. There's this show called Cheating Vegas.
Haven't heard of it.
So it's this new show. It's on a relatively new channel called Destination America. It used to be like Destination or like Discovery Green Planet or something.
Oh, right.
And so they changed it. It's now called Destination America. It's a show called Cheating Vegas. It's every episode they show ways that people have cheated at casinos in the past. It's pretty interesting. It looks like they only made 3 episodes, so I know they're rerunning them. Check your TV listings, but the ones that I saw there, they dealt with some people who had devices for cheating slots, that they'd stick up in the machine and things like that, and there was some point shaving in basketball,
right? Yeah,
that kind of thing. So check that out. It's on Destination America. The other thing, next week, this would be on September 25th, there's a new show premiering on CBS called Vegas. That's a period piece. Takes place, I guess, in the late 50s, early 60s. And it is starring Dennis Quaid and Michael Chiklis. And it sort of follows, I guess, the mob's rise,
their influence
in early Vegas, and Dennis Quaid plays the sheriff. It's based on real people. I'm sure there'll be a lot of fictionalization on it, but Dennis Quaid plays a sheriff who's kind of at odds with the mob, and Michael Chiklis is the mob
leader.
boss. So
my wife's favorite new show because of Dennis Quaid.
She likes Dennis Quaid.
Big Dennis Quaid fan.
Yeah. So check that out. 10 o'clock on CBS on September 25th. All right, let's move on. So, by far, my favorite game, Mike's favorite game to play is craps. And we're not going to sit here and claim that you're going to make any money at craps, like you might be able to playing poker, betting the ponies, or something like that. But, boy, just for excitement and
just the fun of the game.
Yeah.
It's by far the funnest, in my opinion.
It's so, it's fast, it's exciting. And man, when you get on those big rolls, there's nothing like it. There really isn't anything like a hot roll in craps, because if you're sitting playing blackjack or any other kind of gambling, the hand is kind of over, and then you could have a run of wins, but
exactly.
At a craps table, when it's a hot roll and the guy's just rolling numbers,
you can have a 35-minute roll. And you can be, on the edge of your seat for 35 straight minutes.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen in poker.
Right.
You'll have one hand.
And a big, speaking of poker too, one of the great things about craps is that generally every player at the craps table is winning together. Right. Which isn't even the case necessarily at blackjack, right? Because at blackjack you each have your own hand. But typically at a craps table, you're winning and or losing together with everybody else at the table. So it's a social game in that respect. Whereas, poker, you're being quiet and you're trying to...
Right. You're almost encouraged to yell at craps.
Yeah.
As opposed to most other games where you're encouraged to be quiet.
That's right. If you're yelling at a poker table, you're a jerk. Right? But at the craps table, it's just, he's catching a hand. So it can be a bit of an intimidating game to the new player. Because you step up to a craps table and there are so many bets on the table that it's overwhelming. Right. But we wanted to talk about just the basics of craps, which is actually extremely simple.
And probably the best thing to do.
Right, and the best bet to make. That's that's another thing, is that, if you're playing the right bets at the craps table, the house edge is some of the lowest of any game.
Of any game, exactly.
And again, you're not going to be able to retire and play craps or and make all your money. But so we wanted to talk about the pass line. The pass line is the basic bet at the craps table, and when you come up to the table, the pass line is basically the bet right in front of you. When you step, the line goes all the way around the table, and you place your bet in the pass line. And at the beginning of a new game is when you place your bet. The person shooting the dice, they will roll, and if the roll is a 7 or 11, you automatically win.
Natural winner.
Even money. So if you have $5 out there and the shooter rolls a 7 or 11, you get $5. That's the end of that game. Right?
Exactly.
If, however, the shooter rolls a 2, 3, or 12, you lose automatically.
Those are the craps numbers.
And those are called craps, 2, 3, or 12. Correct, right? And the game is over. So those are all the natural winners and losers. Again, 7, 11, you automatically win, game over. 2, 3, 12, you automatically lose, game over. If any other number is rolled, it's going to be a 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, or 10. Those are the only other numbers you can roll with 2 dice. If one of those numbers is rolled, the dealer has a puck, like a disc on the table, and there's a position on the table where he can mark which number was rolled. So let's say, for example, the shooter rolled a 6. The dealer is going to move the puck onto the number 6 on the layout, and now the game changes. Now the point is 6. Whatever number was rolled is now called the point. So in this example, the point is 6. And like I said, the game changes. The shooter will continue to roll. If he rolls a 6 again, the pass line wins. Again, even money. If he rolls a 7, the pass line loses. Game over. Nothing else matters. No other numbers matter. So again, we're at the beginning of the game. You bet on the pass line. The shooter rolls. He rolls a 6. The point is now 6. Now he rolls again and he rolls a 5. Doesn't matter. He rolls again. He rolls a 12. Doesn't matter. Those natural winners and losers are no longer a factor on the pass line. The only thing now is that if the shooter repeats his point, you win, and if he rolls a 7, you lose.
Yeah. Which is a good point, because in almost every other bet on the craps table, it's a matter of repeating that number. And that's basically what you want to do in craps, is repeat numbers.
Right. We'll talk about this probably in future episodes too, but once you get past that first roll, which is called the come-out roll, by the way, I didn't even mention that, but when you're rolling, the very first roll of a new game is called the come-out roll. The 7 is a good number there because you win, but during the whole rest of the game, the 7 is not the good number. The 7 is what you want to avoid. And again, in our example, right, if the shooter rolls a 6, establishes a point of 6, you don't want a 7. Any other number can come up but the 7. The 7 you'll lose, and if they roll the point again, you'll win. Anything else?
It's about the pass line. Well, that's a start for the basic person. If you just focus on that, you got the game.
Yeah.
I mean, everything else expands off that.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. All right. So that's all we'll talk about for craps today. All right. So we're in the middle of football season right now, and a lot of you out there might be involved in some football pools. I know I am. But Mike, you are part of a what's called a survivor pool, which I've never done before. So explain what's involved there.
Well, basically what happens is each week you want to pick a team that is going to win. And if they, for some reason, lose, you're out of the survivor pool.
So you start at the beginning of the season. Everybody puts their money in at the beginning of the season.
Puts their money in at the beginning.
Okay.
And the last man standing, gets all the money.
All right. So every week, everybody picks a team that they say is going to win, And if that team doesn't win, then they're out of the pool.
They're out of the pool. The last one standing gets the money. The trick is you can't use a team twice.
Okay.
So you can only use a team once. There are different theories about that. Some people like to use the best teams early on, avoid being eliminated.
Right.
Other people try and save their best teams and pick a team that, has a good chance to win, but maybe won't even have a winning record that season.
Right.
But that particular week, they're playing a weaker sister, and maybe they'll win.
And then if they do that, then later on in the season, they can use teams that are favored.
That are generally favored.
Right. They save those for the end.
Honestly, I don't know that one way's better than the other.
Yeah.
Because it's worked both ways that I've seen. For instance, this week in particular, New England lost.
Right.
Highly favored.
Right.
The pool I'm in, 47% of the people took New England.
Okay.
And were eliminated.
Yeah.
Out of, I think there's about 38 people in that.
So 38 to start?
38 to start.
So more than half are gone. From the first week, you probably lost
We lost two the first week, and
yeah.
then the rest this week.
Wow. So 17 weeks in the season, so you have 17 teams basically to choose from.
Right, out of the 30 NFL teams.
Right, okay. So you don't have to, as you go along, you don't have to pick like Miami ever if you don't want to.
Right, exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
And some people, they'll just pick the favorite.
Sure.
I mean, the best team every week. If everyone gets eliminated, they may do fine.
So typically, when does the pool end? At what week is there just one man standing?
Last year, it went all the way till week 13.
Okay.
This year, losing half the people early, might go quicker.
Who knows? Yeah.
But it can go either way.
Yeah. Now, you were telling me earlier, too, that there's the survivor pool where you pick the winner, but then there's a...
one year we played one that it was pick a winner and pick a for sure loser.
Each week you had to pick both?
Okay. Now, it was two separate pots.
Oh, I see. Okay, so a loser pool and a winner
so at the end there was somebody who won the winner pool, somebody who won the loser pool.
Oh, okay, so you could be eliminated from the loser pool,
but still play the winner.
Oh, okay.
Right. And that was a little more money, of course. It was like double the money, but you had two chances to win.
Right.
Interesting because you have to pick a loser.
Right.
So in that case, right, you can only use Miami once. And you're probably not going to bet on, New England.
Right. But they didn't do that last year? Just people didn't like it, or it was...
I don't know. I guess somebody just wanted to change it up. I didn't hear one way or the other. I kind of like that. I prefer that.
Yeah.
It's more interesting.
So, every week you have to make a pick. Were there people last year or even this year that just forgot, and then are they eliminated? I assume
they're eliminated if they forget. Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a couple every year forget to get their picks in on time.
Yeah.
Number one.
Yeah.
I'm sure is that, and then maybe they're out of town. Who knows what?
Right.
And just don't do it. So you're eliminated if you don't make a pick.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd be several weeks I wouldn't make picks.
Yeah. That actually sounds like a pretty easy pool to implement compared to even a typical football pool.
Oh, it's a lot less work for the person running the pool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's something somebody
don't have to input scores or anything.
Right.
It's just win or lose.
Right. Yeah. And there are plenty of websites out there, too, to help you, start your own football pool. And even survivor pools, like Mike was just describing, too, you can do online. And, that makes it easier for
Yahoo has an excellent, if you want to create your own pool.
Right.
And they do everything for you.
Right.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Can't complain about that.
Yeah. Nice. All right, let's move on to blackjack. One of the things we'd like to talk about tonight is the most misplayed hand in blackjack, and that is the soft 18.
Probably wouldn't have guessed that.
You wouldn't think.
Most people would not think that.
No. And just to refresh people's memory, a soft 18 is a hand that contains an ace and can be an 8 or an 18. So if you're dealt ace 7, that's a soft 18. And one of the reasons that it's misplayed is because people tend to think that 18 is a good hand. But when you think about it, if you've got 18, whether it's soft or hard, and the dealer doesn't bust, the only hand that you beat is the dealer's 17. That's the only hand. Yeah. So in that respect, it's not maybe as good as a lot of people think. And the way that the hand is misplayed most often is when the dealer is showing a 9, 10, or an ace. Now, basic strategy declares that when you have a soft 18 and the dealer is showing a 9, 10, or ace, you should hit. And if people aren't familiar with basic strategy is the perfect strategy for playing blackjack based on computer runs of the game. So you can mathematically prove that on a fresh deck where you're not counting cards, we're not talking about counting cards here, if you're dealt a soft 18 and the dealer has a 9, 10, or an ace, you should hit. Yeah.
Because you will win more hands that way than if you didn't hit.
Right. And to be completely clear on it, when you've got an 18 against a dealer's 9, 10, or an ace, it's really a losing hand in the long run.
Right, exactly.
So by hitting, you're going to lose less. Sometimes the decisions that basic strategy has come up with is actually to have you lose less money than otherwise would be the case. So in the case of an 18, a soft 18 against a 9, 10, or an ace, you're going to lose less money by hitting. And think about it, too. You could, when you have a soft 18, if you draw a 10, well, you've still got 18, right? It doesn't hurt. If you're lucky enough to get like an ace, deuce, or 3,
you've got a better hand.
You've improved your hand, right?
Right.
And even if you don't hit one of those, if you hit something, let's say you hit like a 7 and now you've got 15, well, you can still hit again.
Right. You still have another chance.
You have another chance. Now, you were, this was years ago, but
quite a few years ago.
Both of us still remember this. So tell this story about when you were at the Rio.
We were at the Rio, and the exact situation Mark described came up. I had soft 18. The dealer had a 10 up. I went to hit, and this was one of those dealers that was particularly chatty. I mean, he just didn't give you your card and move on. He had to make a comment about everything that you did.
Yeah.
And he lambasted me for taking a card. Why would you throw away an 18? Why? And if I remember correctly, I didn't get a good card.
Right, so you probably ended up losing the hand.
Yeah, I ended up
his point,
getting like a 12 or something and then busting.
Yeah.
And he just laid into me.
Yeah.
And I tried for a few seconds to make my point. To no avail. I mean, he was just dead set that was wrong. And the funny thing is, after that, he got real pissy. And I mean, everything was, he was critiquing everything you do, which is probably the worst thing a dealer can do.
And it's, he's probably thinking, oh yeah, I've been around this game for years, my friend.
As a matter of fact, if I remember correctly, he said something like, I've seen millions of hands. So evidently more than any computers ever run.
That's right.
So he knew exactly.
Plus, if there, I don't know if there were other people at the table with you, but if they're not if they don't know about basic strategy, they're probably going to think, oh, well, the dealer knows what he's talking about, right? This idiot who just hit soft 18.
Oh, and I'm sure there's some people, if you did hit soft 18, and you're not on third base, for instance, the guy on third base is thinking when he busts or something that you screwed you screwed him up.
Yeah, that's another good.
I mean, that happens with a lot of hands.
Yeah. But. All right. So hopefully we've given you a little bit more information about what you should do when you have soft 18. Let's talk about the rest of basic strategy when it comes to a soft 18. If the dealer is showing a 7 or an 8, then you do want to stand. Again, with a 7 showing, chances are most likely that the dealer has a 10 down. He could have a 17, and you'll win there. Sort of similarly with if the dealer has an 8, he could have an 18. You may push, just stand. One thing that people may not know, though, is that if the dealer is showing 3, 4, 5, or 6, you should double down if you're allowed to with a soft 18. You will win in the long run if you just stand, but you'll win a little bit more in the long run if you double down. It seems kind of strange, like doubling down with an 8, but again, this is basic strategy. The computers have worked it out. 3, 4, 5, 6, if the dealer's showing that.
Now, what do you think percentage of casinos in Vegas let you double down on any 2 cards right now?
right now. I'd say
At this-
most. Wouldn't you?
Yeah,
You think
I'd
so?
say most.
Yeah.
Remember, there was an era, though, I mean, I'm talking 30 years ago, where 10 or 11 was it.
Sure. Right.
10 or 11 was it.
That's all
I mean,
you
you
could
had no
double down
choice
Right,
on that.
Right.
Yeah, I think most of them now will.
I think you're right. I think the rules are pretty liberal in that respect. In fact, I think they will let you double down after splitting.
Right.
The horrible thing, and we'll get to this in a future podcast, is that a lot of the places, especially the strip casinos, are no longer paying 3-2 on blackjacks. They pay 6-5, which is ridiculous. So I won't go off on that now. We'll talk about that in a future one. But yeah, I think other than that, for the most part, the rules are fairly liberal when it comes to what you can double down on, what you can split, resplit, things like that.
Right. Yeah, which is good. It's our advantage.
It is good. Yep. Okay, and then finally, if the dealer has a deuce showing, you should stand. The exception is, and this is a real nitpicky part of basic strategy, if the rules dictate that the dealer should hit soft 17 when the dealer has soft 17, if that is part of the rule set, when you have soft 18 and the dealer is showing a deuce, you should double down, just like you should against 3, 4, 5, or 6.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's going to do it for the first episode of You Can Bet on That. We're going to maybe try to get these episodes out maybe once every couple weeks, see how it goes.
Sounds good.
Yeah, based on our schedules and what have you. Please check out our website at youcanbetonThat.com, where you can check out our show notes. You can leave comments. You can also email us at youcanbetonthat@gmail.com. Please write to us with questions or criticisms. We'd love to hear from you. And that will do it for us. We'll see you next time. Dr. Mike, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Good night.